Feeling underpaid, overlooked, or stuck in your career even though you're doing everything right? In this episode, Nicky Billou reveals why staying in your comfort zone might be the biggest thing holding you back and how building your own thought leader brand can help you earn more, lead with confidence, and finally get seen. If you're ready to stop playing small and start owning your brilliance, this one's for you. Hey mama, welcome to Career Growth for Working Moms. If you're stuck in a job that doesn't fit or burning out trying to do it all, you're in the right place. I'm Shannon, a career coach and fellow working mom. Here, you'll get simple career strategies and strength-based leadership tips to help you grow with clarity and confidence. So grab your coffee or reheat it for the third time and let's do this. Hello and welcome. I'm thrilled to have Nicky Billou with me today. Nicky has been called the world's greatest podcast guest for a good reason. He's been a guest on over 600 shows, always bringing power, passion, and actionable strategies to every conversation. He's a #1 best-selling author of 10 books, including 2 New York Times bestsellers, an advisor to some of Canada's most successful entrepreneurs, and a sought-after speaker for some major companies like RBC, Lululemon, and Royal LePage. He's also the founder of eCircle Academy, where he helps experts, entrepreneurs, and professionals position themselves as branded thought leaders, scale their income, and build businesses they love. On top of that, he's the host of 2 top-ranked podcasts, The Thought Leader Revolution and The Sovereign Man Podcast, where he's interviewed over 500 of the world's most influential leaders, including John Maxwell and Seth Godin. Nicky believes that business is not a numbers game, it's a people's game. And today, he's here to share how you can take control of your career, stand out in your industry, and earn what you deserve without playing small. Welcome, Nicky. I'm excited to have a conversation with you today.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. Thanks for having me on the show.
So you have a huge backstory and it's very powerful. Can you tell us what shaped your passion for business and leadership?
Absolutely. As you said, I'm originally an immigrant from the Middle East. I'm a Christian from Iran. When I was 11 years old, the Islamic Revolution took place in Iran. And my mom and dad could see the writing on the wall. There was gun battles going on in the streets. This wasn't going to be a place to raise a Christian family. So they made a plan and they got me and my 2 brothers out of Iran. It took a few years, but eventually they got us out to where I now live in Toronto in Canada. Now, you got to get it. The time I was a kid, I didn't want to leave my home or my friends.
Right.
But over the years, in retrospect, I could see this was the single greatest thing mom and dad could have ever done for me and my 2 brothers. What an incredible sacrifice to leave behind everything they knew, to chart a new course, build a new life in a brand new country. And I believe, every human being on this planet, every man, every woman yearns to be free. Okay? Everyone wants to chart their own course, march to the tune of their own drummer. And if you're an entrepreneur or if you work in a business, freedom means everything to you. The right to go choose what kind of career path you have, the right to go figure it out for yourself. Freedom is the bedrock of being able to make your dreams come alive. And to me, I am a champion for freedom. That's my #1 value. I got into business because I wanted to help the good men and women in business, the ones who have a passion to make a difference, to take care of their families, to go out there and be able to do that, knowing they got someone who's got their back, who believes in the majesty of their dreams and the nobility of their soul. And that's why I do what I do.
I love it. I can feel your passion. So, what would you tell for our listeners that are career driven moms that want to step into leadership? They may want to earn some more money, take control of their careers, but they might be stuck because they're staying inside their comfort zone. What can they do or steps that they can do to break out of that comfort zone?
Well, your comfort zone is where your dreams go to die. Comfort's like a drug, man. You wouldn't let your kid smoke up in the house. You wouldn't let your kid, do crack cocaine. Don't let yourself do comfort. It's just as insidious as those things. So you got to just ditch it. And you got to find a way to stand out. You got to stand out. You can't be the same thing that everybody else is out in the marketplace. And the way you stand out is you find something you care about and you start putting it out there. So I've got a client of mine who's also a career coach like you, and she works with people just kind of a rung or two beneath the C-suite in corporate America. And they've been stuck at the same level. And the whole deal is she helps them figure out how to do the nuances of like corporate politics and how to stand out. You got to have something you're passionate about that you put yourself out there for. Start talking about it. You can't just go do your job and go home. That's not going to cut it for you. You got to create some blog posts, some videos that talk about the things that you're passionate about and start putting them out there to build a thought leader brand for yourself. You do that, people will see you as a go-getter, and that's when you get to step up the ladder, go to the next level of leadership.
I love that. So you keep talking about this thought brand leadership. So what exactly is that, and how does that help propel these women in their career?
So look, an expert, right, is someone who knows something, but experts are a dime a dozen these days. A thought leader is someone who's known for knowing something. And thought leaders are rare and valuable. Another way to say it is an expert is like a cover band, while a thought leader plays original music,
I
right?
love that analogy.
Oh, yeah. So when you're a thought leader, you have put yourself out there. You've created something valuable that people want to read about, want to hear about, want to watch, want to consume. It's all about that. Listen, part of what made me a thought leader is I started to do these podcasts, my own podcast, The Thought Leader Revolution. I interviewed Seth Godin. I interviewed John Maxwell. I interviewed Marie Forleo. I interviewed George Ross, who was on The Apprentice, and he was Donald Trump's right-hand man back when he was a businessman. Like these types of high-level people on my podcast elevated my brand. So people started saying, "Oh, you're like the Napoleon Hill of the 21st century." I'm like, "I like that," because you're interviewing all these smart, accomplished people and you're learning from them.
Right.
That elevates my brand. And then people who want to be successful, right? They go, "Okay, so Nicky, you help people be more successful." Okay, well, you know a lot about success because you're like the Napoleon Hill of the 21st century, right? Like Think and Grow Rich was Napoleon Hill. You're Napoleon Hill today. I'm going to work with you. I'm going to have you be my coach. I'm going to do your workshops. So if you're a woman in business, that's what you do. So I'll tell you a story about a client of mine, a woman who was a functional medicine doctor. I'm going to call her Dr. Vicky. Dr. Vicky was a very successful woman. She made 6 figures a year, but her business was kind of like treading water. Wasn't going any further ahead. And she was going through a life epiphany. Her father was dying of glioblastoma, brain cancer. So it was a rough time for her. And unfortunately, a few months later, he passed away. But she was committed to honoring his memory by becoming successful. She says, "I got to be next level 7-figure a year earner." And we said, "Okay, Dr. Vicky, let's talk. What's going on?" She says, "Look, I am an expert in functional medicine. I can help anybody with any health problem." I go, "You're going to sound like everybody else. Don't do that." She goes, "Well, how do I figure it out?" I said, "Well, who have you already seen as patients?" She says, "Okay, I've seen a whole bunch of people." I said, "I want to make you a list of all the ladies you've seen as patients who were like your best clients, like you love working with them. They were just awesome." Okay, make another list of the people who got really good results working with you. Okay, make another list of people who were easy to work with, easy to do business with. Like they paid on time, they sent you clients, did that. I said, "Who's on all 3 lists?" She says, "Oh, that's smart." I go, "Yeah, it is. Very smart. I'm a very smart man."
Yeah.
She says, "Okay, who's on all 3 lists?" He says, "Okay." He says, "They're all women." I go, "Okay, that's good. They're all over 45. They're all married with children. They're all successful career professional women. Their marriages are great, kids are great, and their profession's great." I go, "Okay, so what's the problem?" Sounds like a lovely life.
Right.
She said, "There is a problem." She said, "They all feel like time, beauty, youth has passed them by, and they're all upset about it." Now, listen, I'm a man. I don't know these things, but I hear women like beauty.
Yes.
Youth.
It's
I've heard,
important.
maybe, I've heard. Right? So, so she said, "Okay." She said, "Here's the deal. My message to these ladies is, you know, getting older is inevitable. Every year the number is going to rise, right? You're going to go from 30 to 31 to. She said, but aging isn't. She said you can be just as beautiful, youthful, energetic in your 40s and 50s and 60s as you were in your 20s and 30s. I'm like, really? She goes, oh yeah. I said, okay, let's come up with a good name for this program. She says, okay. And I said, I got it. I got it. 'Cause I'm good at these things. I go, get your sexy back. Get your sexy back, doll.
I love it.
I love it too, man. She doubled her income 3 years in a row. She went from like 6 figures a year to 6 figures a month, girl. 6 figures a
Wow.
month just by creating this brand as the Get Your Sexy Back lady who worked with the career women who were all like in good marriages, good kids, good careers, but not feeling the youth, not feeling the beauty anymore. And boom, that's how it went from tragic to magic. And now you listening to this, can this happen for me? Absolutely. What is it you're passionate about? What is your narrow strip of expertise? Let's double down, triple down on that.
I love that. That's so powerful. That's powerful. What happens if we have a listener? I mean, like you said, maybe the listeners here and they're saying, well, how do you know that that's possible for me? That's just possible for someone else out there.
Well, listen, here's the deal. You've lived some life, you've gone through some adversity, and there's only two reasons for adversity. Reason number one is the good Lord is trying to tell you something that you're on the wrong path and he's sending you the adversity because kicking and screaming you refuse to see that you're on the wrong path,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
That's
100%.
reason number one, right? That you have adversity. And reason number two is there's a lesson there for you. And everybody who's gone through adversity learns these lessons. And these lessons become the base of your expertise. Your mess is your message. It's what you've struggled with that you have the right to call yourself a true expert and a thought leader and teach others.
Yes.
That's the facts. So I'm telling you, can anybody do it? Theoretically, yes. But you need some help from somebody like myself to show you what's what to make it happen. So listen, like Dr. Vicky, she made a lot more money. If you're listening to this and you're going, I'd like to make a lot more money, well, it's possible for you. It's possible for you.
Yeah. I love that. I always try and say, be in gratitude of the lesson I'm learning when I'm going through that adversity. And they're like, okay, thank you that I get to learn this lesson now instead of later on. So, gratitude is important. Um,
Right.
so, what would you have practical strategies that any professionals can do to increase their income that you can provide to these listeners?
Yeah. Well, number one is like we've been talking about,
Yes.
don't try to be all things to all people.
Mhm.
Try to be, uh, don't try to be a wandering generality, be a meaningful specific.
Mhm.
Don't be a wandering generality, be a meaningful specific. So let's get down to the specifics of what you can do. Secondly, remember, life, it's not about you, it's about them. In
Mhm.
my world, when I have a client, right? Let's say you came to me and you said, Nicky, I've got a great, wonderful business, but like I'm a little stuck. I've been making maybe quarter million a year for the last 3 years, and I was really hoping I'd be like at 350,000, 400,000 by now. And I'd say to you, okay, Shannon. And then you'd say to me, so what do you think I need to do? Well, the first thing I'd say, Shannon, who is it that you serve? And then we would get real specific on that. And I'd say, let's take all the attention off you because if you just make sure their needs are met, your needs will automatically be met.
Yes.
Okay. If you put the attention on you, I hope they like me. I hope they're going to buy from me. I hope they're going to do business with me. They're going to feel it.
Yes.
Nobody likes that.
The
Nobody
salesy.
likes that. It's too much. But if you're like, God, give me a sign as to whether I am the person meant to help this woman.
Mhm.
And if I am, God, give me the courage to boldly let her know that I am the one and ask her to allow me to serve her out of suffering. And they'll feel that too. They'll feel
Yeah.
that. They'll go, oh my God, that's such a good person and I need help. Come on,
Yes.
here's my credit card. Let's go.
Yes, because you are serving. It doesn't come across salesy if you're coming from your heart.
It does not. It does
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
I'll tell you my I'll tell you my last story. This is a great story.
Okay.
So there was a woman who came to us, and this was, oh my God, this was a long time ago. It was 7 years ago. It's crazy. And when she came to us, she used to be the country director for Canada for one of the world's largest and oldest personal development firms. Been around since the 60s in like a dozen countries, right? Like a serious organization. And she was a rock star, but she felt she needed help. So she brought this fellow on to help her run Canada. And at first, everything went great, right? But after about a year, their vision of the future diverged and they were clashing. And there was a board of directors, and the board of directors sided with him and they kicked her out of her own company. Kind of like Steve Jobs in the 80s with Apple. Remember, he brought on John Scully, and then
Yep.
the board sided with John and kicked Steve out of his own company.
Yep.
How do you that's like people always go to me, how do you get kicked out of your own company? If you have a board of directors, easily they could decide to kick you out. So be careful who you put on your board of directors, okay? So be real careful. So she's like lost, kind of like Steve was for like 18 months, lost, bereft. How did this happen? Woe is me. And then she's introduced to me and my beloved Teresa, who I work with.
Mhm.
And we could see this was a good woman, married with 3 sons, just a good person. And we saw that, man, she just needed someone to love on her and believe in her. And my father, my great father, Napoleon, he would always say to me, God rest his soul, son, everyone needs someone to believe in them. Believe in that person sitting in front of you. She's someone's daughter, someone's sister, someone's wife, someone's mother. She's a hero to somebody, and maybe someone just like you let her down in life or in business. It's your job to restore her faith in humanity. That little spark of belief from you can turn into a roaring fire. And my father's the
Love
greatest man I've
that.
ever known. That's
Love that.
right there. So
Mhm.
she needed belief, and we could see this was a good person, a person with skill. So we loved on her. We believed in her. We helped her narrow her focus because it was all over the place, as you can imagine.
Yes.
Right. All over the place. We narrowed her focus. Entrepreneurs in Ottawa in tech, over 10 million a year that were burnt out. I know a thing about burnt out. I just went through it recently myself. It is not fun, man. Burnout is not good.
No,
No, no,
no,
no, no, no.
no,
Bad,
it's
bad.
not.
Very, very, very bad. Um, so this girl, I'm going to call her Julie. In her first month with us, she made $10,000 in income as a coach. In her second month, she made $12,000. In her third month, she made $18,000. But in her fourth month, she blew it up, man. She made $62,200. Like, are you
Wow.
kidding me? This is like 7 years ago, right? Like, God, April 2018. And that number, $62,200, it'll become germane in a moment. So she lives in Ottawa. I live in Toronto. Ottawa is our capital city. It's about a 5 hour drive from Toronto. Now, June 2018, my oldest son was 12 at the time. He's 19 now. He played soccer. He went on to play at a very high level. You know, now he's working full time. He decided to give up the sport. But back then it was everything to him. And he had a tournament in Ottawa. So we drove to Ottawa. On my way there, I'm going, hey, I got this friend. She's got a son your age. I'm going to ask her to come watch the game with her son. And he's like, okay, he's 12. Those things were cool to 12-year-olds. By the time he was 13, it wasn't cool anymore to bring people he didn't know. But so um, I call her up and I go, yo, we're coming to Ottawa for this tournament. Why don't you bring your son and watch some games with us? She's like, okay. So they did watch games. We won the tournament, which was awesome. We had some lunch. Everybody had a good time. We drove back to Toronto. She went back to her house. A few weeks later, she drove to Toronto for our quarterly branded thought leader immersion workshop. So every quarter we do these workshops. They're called the branded thought leader immersion workshop. They are very exclusive, very high level. Like it's, costs $10,000 to come do this workshop. But in 3 days, you make a decade's worth of progress. There are people who've done this workshop that have added 100,000, 200,000, 500,000, a million. The record is 11.5 million to their income, right? So
Wow.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So really cool, amazing stuff. Like I love leading these things, right? And we're very different than most people who lead these things who, are selling you the entire time. we have one enrollment opportunity, and it's on the last day in the morning, and it's 30 minutes. And we talk about our ongoing work, which is a year-long program that's $40,000. And the way that I sell this is I I basically run some slides and go, well, we're going to tell you about our next opportunity. And I go, rather than me tell you all about it, why don't you hear from some of our people? So I have over the years shot some, videos of people giving us this, but I also have people who are there live talk about it. So I go, anybody here who's a member want to share with the new folks what you've been getting out of working with us? And normally people put their hands up and I pick on them. Not today, not that day. So Julie bolted out of her seat like a rocket and bounded on the stage, almost knocked me on my. I'm not tiny. I weigh like 180, 85, 90 pounds. Depending on I do bodybuilding depending on whether I'm in like the cut or the thing phase. So at the time I was like 190 pounds, and I go, okay, I guess you really want to speak, so go for it. And I was excited. I'm like, someone's just excited to come on stage. This is great, good for us, right?
Exactly.
So I recede into the background and I am staring at her, not staring at her, but looking at her from the back and also looking at the stage, right, the audience. And she is standing there and she's got her hands on her hips, and she's not saying anything. And I'm like, okay, she's gonna start talking. And then I see the shoulders go like this, like this. I'm like, and then I hear a sob. I'm like, wait, what? Is she crying? She's crying. Now, Shannon, you may not know this about men, but when we see a woman we know cry, the first assumption we make is we did something wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the first thing in my head, what did I do? Like that's so. My beloved Teresa, who is way more astute about these things than me, comes to the stage with box of Kleenex, and she gratefully accepts them and blows her nose. She's still sobbing. She turns around and she goes, Nick, come here. And she puts her arm around me and she goes, she's sobbing the whole time.
Oh.
And I'm just standing there going, and she
What
said,
did
you didn't know this, Nicky, but when you and your little son came to visit me and my little son, my boy, when he got in the car, said, Mommy, 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 who are we going to go meet? Now, Shannon, you seen 12-year-old boys, what they're like? They're like that, right? High energy.
Yes, yes, yes.
So what she did, like any smart mom, is try to quiet him down by saying, oh, sweetheart, we're just going to go see Nicky Billou and his son. And she said all of a sudden it worked. He got real quiet, real quiet. And she's like, why is my son so quiet?
Right.
And he said to her, Mommy, are we going to go meet the man who saved our family?
Oh.
So, Shannon, you may have gathered I'm an older man, right? I got the white and the beard and the hair. And I'm from the old school masculine, non-wuss line of
Right.
non-wuss line of men, right? Um, I don't
Don't
really
cry.
cry in public.
Right.
That was a massive exception. I
Yes.
started to cry like a little baby. And we both hugged. And everybody in the room went, oh. And then she said, while she was hugging me, and then she let me go and she said, I didn't tell you this when we first met, but I hadn't worked in 18 months. The bank was about to foreclose on our home when we met. And my husband's an artist. He's like a photographer. I'm the money winner, not him. And we were fighting like cats and dogs about money in front of our children every single day. Our three boys, little boys under 12, the 12-year-old was her eldest, right?
Right.
Were freaking out that mom and dad were going to break up and the family was going to break up.
Right.
Freaking out, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Freaking out every day. And she said, but then you came into our lives And I made all this money and I was able to pay the bank off. And we didn't have anything to fight about anymore. And she looked at me and hugged me and kissed me and said, you saved our family. Thank you. And I'm losing it. It's like,
Oh, I bet you were.
I'm losing it. I'm losing it. You know,
Yeah.
dressed up in my fancy suit and the whole bit. And I'm just like, shh. And usually I call on 2 or 3 people to share. I made an executive decision
You didn't.
that I wasn't going to do that.
No one was following that.
Nobody was following that. So I said to Teresa, hand out the registration forms. Now, here's how it goes normally, right? It's a $40,000 decision. It's not a small decision, right?
Right.
There's some people, though, that they're in. They're like, yeah, man, I'm in. Let's go. There's some people like, forget that, man. No, I'm not in. All cool. And there's some other people that they're like, you got to talk. You got to.
Yeah.
For the first and only time, everyone, there were 8 people, everyone signed up instantly. They got the papers, they filled them out. Everyone. That's the day I realized that God put me here for a reason.
Absolutely.
And that reason had nothing to do with me.
Yes. I love that. That's an amazing story. Very touching. So what's the best place for our listeners to connect to you? Connect with you.
Jump on a phone call with me at ecircleacademy.com/appointment. That's if you want to have a conversation. If your idea of a connection is follow me on social media, I'm the only Nicky Billou in the world, at Nicky Billou.
Okay.
Go play.
Awesome. And as we wrap up, I love to leave my listeners with an action step that they can take. So what is one mindset shift that you would like to leave our audience with today?
Plan your next day the night before.
I love that. Awesome. Well, thank you, Nicky, for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, Working Mama. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you take 30 seconds to share it with a friend who's stuck in her career but doesn't want to sacrifice her family to grow? Also, please leave a quick review on Apple Podcasts. It seriously lights me up to know this show is helping you navigate burnout, find clarity, and lead with confidence. All right, time to shut down my laptop and pretend I'm not hiding from folding that laundry. I'll meet you back here soon for another episode of Career Growth for Working Moms. You've got this.